What up, y'all? The Lightning Wolf God is back. Um, yeah. Sorry about the wait. Um, I kind of ran into some issues, and I needed some time. I needed some time to myself because I was trying to find stuff. I needed some time to myself because I was trying to find stuff to make videos about for y'all. But and in that, I guess I kind of lazed off a little bit. But yeah, so I'm sorry about that. Um, this video is gonna be a bit of a is this video is gonna be another review. I'm reviewing another anime. I'm reviewing another anime, and this one kind of annoys me because of the way it ended. It was terrible, to me at least. Anyway, so let's start off with the basic plot here. As you guys know, I don't I don't flesh out stuff too much. I try to make I try to make it as simple as possible. Um, I don't flesh stuff out too much. I try to make it as simple as possible. I'm not finna get into who made the anime. I'm not about to get into why it was made, who it was made for. I I am not about to get into all of that. No. I'm just gonna talk about the anime itself. So basically, the plot of the anime stems around, starts around, revolves around, I should say, a girl. The girl's name is Saya, and the girl's name is Saya, and her job is to basically keep humanity safe by killing these monsters. And that's a very fine plot if you like, and that's a very fine plot if you don't count the fact that there seems to be no ending. Yeah, and actually, now that I just said that, I kind of can forgive them for ending it the way they did, because with the way that plot was going, it wouldn't have ended any other way. Anyway, so basically, her job is to kill monsters. Later on in the plot, later on in the plot, we somehow find out that her friends, her so-called friends, keep in mind I said so-called friends because this is gonna be important later. Her so-called friends, when we find out later in the plot that her so-called friends were killed, but then at but then as it turns out, her friends weren't killed. But then, as it turns out, near the end, her friends weren't killed in the first place. Backtrack a little bit, backtrack a little bit to before that even happened, because as the plot seems to start thickening, we get to a point where it's like her apparently she's an amnesiac. Her memories start to come back of who she actually is, apparently. And yeah, that's about it. That's about it. That's about it if you exclude the part where we actually get the flashback of who she actually was, which was a military grade military grade human weapon. Um, so yeah. Um, the reason like I to me I loved Saya as a character. I loved Saya as a character. She was nice. I mean, she was nice. Her father was nice. I thought all of her friends were nice. Not even her father was nice. You'll see what I mean by that. And I'm completely contradicting myself, but you'll see what I mean by that in a minute. Um, Yeah. So yeah, I kind of liked Saya as a character, and but I completely I completely knew the villain. I knew the villain. I don't know if this is a bad thing for an anime to do, because before now I didn't even care about because I didn't like because before now I didn't even care about the review quality of an anime. I just watched it to watch it because it looked fun. But I knew that I knew who the villain was off the rip. Like, I knew who the villain was off the rip. You know why? Because the villain and a character in the show have the same voice. The villain and a character in the show have the same exact voice. I knew who the villain was off the rip. Off rip. Anyway, I thought that the cafe guy, there's a cafe guy, I forgot the guy's name, Fumito. He always hangs around, Saya always comes to hang around him, drink his coffee, eat his guimauve, and we found, hey, oh, the guimauve is important, listen. But turns out that Fumito, the guy that hangs around Saya that I liked, I mean, that I liked as a character a little bit, because he was super nice, even like because he was super nice, was evil. And like I said, I knew it was him off rip because the I knew it was him off rip because the evil character and him had the same exact voice actors, and it was made even more apparent as the plot thickened. Up, and it was made even more apparent as the plot thickened, and he kept showing up in almost every, and he kept showing up in almost every other scene. And like I said, the Guimauve is important, but I'm gonna get into that later. And then we get into the part where her friends start dying. Ever since, like, I no, the teacher. Let me talk about the teacher first before that. The teacher. Oh my God, I trusted this teacher. 2 episodes in, I stopped trusting her. 2 episodes in, I'm like, one episode? Okay, she seems trustworthy. 2 episodes? Okay, she seems trustworthy. I mean, 3 episodes in, but because 3 episodes in, there was one moment, probably not even 3 episodes. It was probably the first, because I mean, I can't quite remember which it was, but it was probably the first because of the way she spoke. I don't know why, but like, I don't know why, and I don't know whether or not this is an ability, but and I don't know whether or not this is an ability on my part, but I can tell things just by hearing someone's voice. But that's not quite important to the actual anime. So let's get into that. The teacher that I was on. The teacher is like, I automatically knew that the teacher was bad because of the way she spoke when she saw that Saya was late. And this was further, like this was further enforced in the same way that it was enforced with Fumito, and I don't remember the teacher's name, so don't ask me. Um, this was enforced the same way that Fumito was enforced. She kept showing up she kept showing up. I mean, she kept showing up, albeit less episodes than Fumito did. Albeit less episodes than Fumito did, because Fumito was in every single episode, almost every no, every single episode. But that's also not important quite yet, quite yet. So the basic point is I never, I never suspected any of her other friends, especially her so-called best friend, and you and the best friend we'll get the best friend later. So the part that got me hating this anime entirely was the ruination of the atmosphere of the anime, the ruination of the illusion that I was there, the ruination of the illusion that I was enjoying this anime. Turns out turns out all like oh yeah, and this was like further into the plot where her friend started dying. By the way, this was further into the plot where her friend started dying. So this ruined it for me. Turns out all of her friends were it turns out all of her friends were actors in a were actors in a play that was put on were actors in a play. And it turns out all of her friends were actors in a play that Fumito, the guy who turned out to be the bad guy, put on put on to keep her from gaining her memories. And the reason and now that I've told you that Fumito is evil, I can also tell you that about the Gimo. The Gimo, I told you the Gimo was important. The Gimo was basically what was keeping her memories locked up. As long as he kept feeding her that, as long as he kept feeding her that, she stayed dumb. She was stayed dumb, deaf and blind. I mean, like she stayed dumb. Like her memories stayed sealed. Her memories stayed sealed as long as the Gimov was in her system. But beyond that, there's also a point where her friend started dying. Her friend started dying. Turns out they come back. Turns out they come back at the climax of the entire series. They come back at the climax of the entire series. Turns out that they hadn't died. It turns out that they hadn't died. I think it was copies of them that died. And upon getting sick and tired of playing in this play that Fumito put on, all of her friends, including all of her friends, including the twins, the two characters that I loved the most in that entire anime, turned on her and started acting bitchy. And when I say bitchy, I mean the twins. Oh my god, I have never like it. They ruined it for me. I liked them, and then they ruined themselves for me by turning into generic thug number two, by turning into generic bitch number two, number one and number two. But anyway, yeah, they ruined themselves for me, including the guy who I almost thought had a, including the guy who I almost thought had a real crush on Saya. I kind of thought he was trying too hard, and I kind of thought that the other guy, the guy whose name I can't remember because he's a worthless character, the guy whose name I can't remember because he was a worthless, useless character, and he did like that guy I'm talking about now. He didn't try enough. I could tell they were so faking it, but I couldn't tell that the entire thing was a play, but I could tell that they were so faking. I mean, the random shy guy with glasses is so the random shy guy with glasses is such a cliche, but seriously, for him to not do anything, and then the bad boy character has been used so harshly the bad boy character has been used so harshly in anime that I can tell who it is right off the goddamn bat. But anyway, yeah, I think it's meant to be that way, but that's not the point. He was trying too hard. He was trying too hard. But oh yeah. And then they actually did die. And then they actually did die. It hurt to see Nene and Nono, the two names of the twins, my two favorite characters in that anime, die, even though they were bitches. But am I getting off track, guys? Am I getting off track? Oh yeah, I am getting off track because the last thing that I wanted to talk about was her so-called best friend, whose name I also cannot remember because she was a bitch. She wasn't that much of a bitch. She wasn't that much of a bitch. She was just a bitch. But because she turned on her friend. I mean, she turned on her so-called friend and was already in bed with this guy, not literally. Was already in bed with Fumito, who was planning who and they had struck a deal where it's like she would help Fumito with with his little idea, and he would help her become the president. Yeah, I think it was the president. But After that, it just turned into. After that, it basically just turned into the apocalypse. Like, yeah. After that, it basically just turned into the apocalypse. Then Saya lost her eye, and the show ended. My basic opinion of this anime is basically why, like, and now analyzing everything that I just said in this video, my basic opinion of this anime is, why do you exist? I mean, your characters are so generic. Like, your characters are so generic. It's ridiculous. Your characters are so generic. It's ridiculous. And then you got, and then you got and then you got the typical plot line. Oh my god, my friends, like, and then you got the typical plot line. Oh my god, the people I thought were my friends were actually evil. It's so obvious. I won't say that, because throughout the entire anime I had no idea, and throughout the entire anime I had no idea Nene and Nono were such bitches. Yeah. So between like between I didn't mind, like, to me, I didn't mind the art style. It was a great art style. And even though it had, like, even though at this point I'm realizing that it had no at all, no, well, none at all, no actual plot. And if not for the way they ended, it would have just kept going with her killing monsters every day, with the fact that it had no plot at all. Like, when the fact that it had no plot at all, then turn around and had the most generic plot ever, and then turn around and had the most generic characters ever. And before this video ends, one little aspect that I did not mention at all in this video: Saya's father. Saya's father. Oh my god. Saya's father turned out to be Saya's father turned out to be what she know what the two of them called an elder baron. Saya's father turned out to be one of those under the control of Fumito the Bastard. And that's the new name I'm giving him, Fumito the Bastard. and like and Her father was under control of Fumito the entire time. He turned back into his elder baron form and picked up a sword and tried to kill his own daughter with it, and then turned around and got killed by his daughter, apologized, and died. Like, got stabbed by his daughter, apologized, and died. And then, in the process of remembering who Saya actually was, she gave no shits. She stopped giving a shit. It's like, she stopped caring. The military grade human war machine, and the military grade human weapon she always was, went to the surface. And oh yeah, and the most rejecting scene ever. I'm going to end this video off on the most rejectable scene ever. What I mean by that is, the nice guy, the shy guy, the shy nerd I was talking about in the beginning, and I said I didn't even know his name. Yeah, that guy got rejected hard. It was like he finally it's kind of like he finally got up the courage to tell her, and then she was like, the girl you fell in love with isn't the real me. I'm like, damn. So yeah, overall my opinion of this anime was like, you were good, but then you weren't. You get a 5. Yeah, bye guys. Bye guys, and I hope you enjoyed this video. Lightning Wolf God, peace out.